Hi, I'm Laura Ruth, and I'm an independent consultant with Usborne Books and More. I'm also a teacher and a mother. I wanted to come today to share some of my favorite picture books we have to offer at Usborne Books and More, starting with Nibbles, the book monster. Nibbles is a cute little monster who starts the story in a cage, but he soon gets let out of the cage and begins to wreak havoc in stories like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, where he eats his way straight into the story and wreaks havoc on her story. You can see by her hair. He also visits Little Red Riding Hood and Jack and the Beanstalk. So catch this book today to see if you can catch Nibbles. He also has books for Monster Hunt and the Dinosaur Guide. So once you get one of Nibbles' books, you'll need them all. Emma Yarlett also writes Dragon Post and Santa Post. These are two of our favorite books at our house. Dragon Post begins with a little boy who finds a dragon in his house, and he has to get help on how to work with a dragon. Do you know how to raise a dragon? I sure didn't. So he writes letters. In the letters, I'll show you an example. This is when he writes to the fire brigade, and you can see that it's super detailed and fun, and it teaches your child about letter writing, but it's even more importantly a fun book. So he gets advice from the fire brigade. He also gets advice from a meat provider on how to feed his dragon. But then he starts to get into some trouble when the dragon gets loud and begins to be a little rambunctious in the house. And so he gets some other letters too. So definitely check out Dragon Post by Emma Yarlett as well. So speaking of interesting stories, I mentioned Goldilocks and the Three Bears earlier. Well, we have some new books with Usborne Books and More called The Wrong Fairy Tale. We have Goldilocks and the Three Little Pigs and Jack and the Three Little Bears. So in these fairy tales, they get mixed up. So we have been reading these at night, and my little girl loves to think about what aspects come from each story. But in here, you can see Goldilocks and the Three Little Pigs are trying to solve some problems together. Nice, bright, colorful pictures, fun, and a fun story where they work together against the big bad wolf. So you'll have to get it to check out what happens. In Jack and the Three Little Bears, the same thing happens, and you can see there is a big mean giant in it. My daughter loves to go fee fi fo fum, and they are working together to get that hen that lays the golden eggs. So you'll have to see if they were able to do it by getting Jack and the Three Bears. Speaking of bears, another book about bears is great. It's a fun story told from the perspective of the bear who tells us that he has so many books written about him, but what ends up happening is they have to stop whatever they're doing when they start to read a story about bears. And so, yeah, sometimes they are a little greedy and grumpy, and they don't really feel that great. And so he tells you a little bit about his problem with being in the stories. So what he does is he begins to look for some friends to help him take his place. So you can check this out to see what Bear's solution is in the end. Another fun book for those kiddos. Now, I love this book, Tale of Two Beasts, because it's told from two perspectives. You have the little girl and you have this little critter that she ends up naming Fang in the story. And it begins with the strange beast, where she finds this beast and what she does. And then you hear it from his side of the story, the terrible beast. This is a great book to use in your classroom to teach about the perspective on events and how that matters. And so you see the story from the little girl and from Fang, and it has some good laughs in it, and then you can see how it ends up. Do they end up friends or do they end up foes? Another fun book that we have to offer at Usborne Books and More is Class Picture. I love Class Picture because as a teacher, they are so interesting to see how those pictures turn out. You know, you can see their little personalities in those pictures. So in this story, you actually get to see different animals and how their class picture turns out. So you can see what happens with ostrich and, oh, look at the beavers. You can definitely tell a little bit about it. I like to read it with my daughter, and we talk about why some of the images look the way they do, like this one with the foxes and what's going on there. So we like to talk about what does that tell us about those animals. So Class Picture is a fun book to read, especially on picture day. Another book we love at our house is This Is Owl. We also have This Is Crab and This Is Frog. And so we love all of them. What I love about this book is that it is interactive. So during the story, they tell you what to do and how to help. So for example, try tickling Owl's tummy to wake Owl up. So my daughter gets to tickle Owl's tummy to wake him up. This is great to read with your child. We read it at bedtime, we read it during the day. It's kind of a nice boost, like get you excited about reading in the morning book as well. This page would tell you clap 3 times to switch off the sun. And I can talk to my daughter about why would we want to switch off the sun? Why does that matter for Owl? And so you get to go through the story and you get to see lots of fun things that happen to Owl and help him throughout the story. So these books are a great interactive read. Now I wanted to share just a few more books. Can I Join Your Club is another great book with a great lesson. So you have little Doug here and he wants to join everybody's club. He wants to join Lion's Club, and Lion asked him to roar. And of course he tries and he ends up quacking because he's a duck. And so Lion doesn't let him join, and he tries to join Snake's Club. And he tries to join Elephant's Club, and he just can't do what he's supposed to be in their clubs. So he decides to start his own club named Duck Club. And Turtle comes to ask to be in his club. What do you think he'll do here? You'll need to read to find out if he lets others join his club. One of our newest releases when it comes to picture books is The Perfect Fit. So I am a teacher, but I'm actually a math coach at this point in my career. So I love this book with the shapes in it. And in here, you also learn a great lesson about fitting in. So this is triangle. He's trying to roll with the circles. And he thinks, then I might try the squares. And he tries a lot of shapes and he just can't fit in. And so then he decides that he might try to fit in with a bunch of people. But then he realizes that he can't do a lot of things when he's with people that are just like him. So this story is actually a great way to teach kids that it's good to hang out with people that are like you, but it's also great to hang out with people that are different than you too, and learn from each other and make each other better by being together. The last 2 books I want to show you are beautiful picture books. Room on Our Rock is one of them. Room on Our Rock is a very unique story because there are 2 sides to every story. So when you read this book, you would go through the pages and read it normally. There's no room on our rock. So it's ridiculous to say there's space for plenty more. So you read the whole story through and you're hearing this whole thing that there's no room for you, you can't come with us. And at the very end of the book, no room on this rock, can it be true? Read back to front for another point of view. So when you read the story the other way, it actually is a positive message that there is room on the rock. So this is a very unique story with these beautiful watercolor pictures about perspective once again. This is one of my new favorite books that we just came out with, Extraordinary. This book is all about the extraordinary and the ordinary. So I'll show you just some of the beautiful graphics inside. And it's all about the extraordinary things in life, like stars and fireworks. But then it's also about some of the amazing things that are just small but extraordinary in this world. So this is a great one to talk to your children or your students about what makes something extraordinary and how can the ordinary be extraordinary if we really slow down and look. Thanks for taking some time to see some of my favorite picture books. I hope you get to check them out yourself and share the love of Usborne books with others. Thanks.